It's just crazy that he took great care because it is probably one of like the better Nolan scenes in anything, and
Yeah.
just like hearing about how it was done was amazing.
I think Agamemnon is like the most interesting character in the movie. And I think the fact that he's in it for such a short period of time adds to that.
It's rating time. Who
Is
wants to go
that
first?
what we're doing? Is that what we're doing from now on? Is that like are we workshopping that? Is that like
Sometimes, what do they say? You know, what's a movie where they did a lot of improv and it made it work? Click.
I don't know.
okay?
Click.
Lupo Cinema Symposium. Welcome back, everybody, to another amazing episode of Lupo Cinema Symposium. I am one of the hosts here, Jim, aka Uptown Lupo 420. I'm joined as always by my two experts in all things film, Robbie and Christian. Guys, how we doing?
Very good, very good.
We thought you was a toad.
What's that from?
Oh brother, where art thou?
Oh, I forgot. I haven't seen that in a while. I feel like I have to revisit that.
Based on the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Wait away.
What are we?
Speaking of the movie that we are going to see, we're deviating a little bit from the programming here because we all managed to see the big blockbuster of the summer, The Odyssey by Christopher Nolan. And we decided, because we all basically agreed to go see the movie around the same time, that we might as well make a podcast about it. So we actually saw me and Robbie did. I don't know if you did, Christian, the IMAX 70 millimeter version.
He wouldn't have been able to because
Unfortunately, the nearest
they don't really
IMAX
have them.
is 2 hours away from where I'm currently staying, and I thought we were doing the Sheep Detectives.
That was a good movie. Yeah,
That was a good movie.
that was a good movie. I did not expect to like it, but it was good. You know what? Let's just do the Sheep Detectives.
Welcome to the Sheep Detectives.
I'll see you guys in an hour.
Nah, but yeah, there's only like, I forget how many exactly, but I think there's like 50, 70 millimeter IMAX theaters in the country or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's even lower than that.
Wow.
Yeah,
And we just happen
But
to be
anyway,
blessed with being 30 minutes away from one. That's crazy.
yeah.
the longest, a long anticipated movie from our group, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey.
Yeah.
That I'll just get right into it. Like I think since its announcement, there's been some contention among the ranks between us, of how good it was going to be.
Yeah. I think I'll just say, like, I think I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I've been since I was a kid. But like something about when I saw the trailer and like they started releasing images and stuff, I just got a bad feeling about the movie. So it's not that I thought it was going to be bad, but I was worried that, like, I don't know. I don't really know what I was worried about, but yeah,
Not a strong effort.
I definitely felt like he was due for like some kind of like a step back a little bit, like after Oppenheimer. Um,
Wow,
so
it's a hard one to follow up.
yeah, and I mean, I guess we can get right. We'll get right into what we think, because I do think it is a little bit of a step back. I mean, it's hard to, like you said, it's hard to live up to that movie. But even like, I will say this: this is a good movie. I think it's a good movie. And I was talking to Jimmy about this when we saw it. It's a very different. Its flaws are very different, but it makes me feel a similar way that Sinners made me feel, where I see a lot of the potential and like I really like certain aspects I'm like in love with, and then there's things that are just like I don't really like, and particularly with this movie, I think it can be kind of boring, especially in the first half. Um, it can really drag. And I think that I was thinking, because I've seen it twice now. I saw it with Jimmy and then I saw it by myself. And the second time I was able to think about it a little more. And it just doesn't, I don't see myself putting this movie on at home and sitting through the first half just to get like a couple great scenes at the end or like in the middle.
Mm.
It so it's kind of a weird. I don't know. It's kind of a weird movie for me. Like I said, there's things I really really love about it. There's scenes I think are like absolutely incredible. But overall, I think it's just okay, and it wasn't. It wouldn't even. I don't even know if it would be in like my top 10 favorite Nolan movies, which is, that's very good company. So it's not like that doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's shit or anything, but
Your favorite
yeah,
Nolan movie being Inception?
it changes. I probably Interstellar, but
Interstellar? That is such a good movie.
yeah, Inception, Oppenheimer, both up there.
I'm a very big fan of The Prestige. I think that's gonna always be
Yeah,
my favorite one.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, yeah.
y-
Go ahead.
yeah, I think I'm just like a degree, like a shade more warm on the movie than you are. Because a lot of what you said with like I agree with. Um, particularly like I think there were a few script issues.
I agree.
Not major ones, like minor script issues that don't really bother me, but are still weird. Like they seem like they don't quite have a place in the movie. Like Zendaya's Athena, like I don't really understand what that added to the movie a whole lot, and I have no problem with Zendaya. I know some people aren't that big on her. I'm not gonna come to her defense against like any criticism, but like she just didn't need to really be in that movie at all. Like it just added nothing to it. I also think there are a couple pacing issues with the script. I guess with the movie as a whole. But I see. This is where disagree. I think is I could see myself putting this on at home and watching it and enjoying it all over again. Um, where you say it's just okay, I would say good. I wouldn't say
Mm.
great. I wouldn't say amazing, but I would say good. I I had a great time with this. If that makes
I
sense. I'm just a little
Yeah,
warmer on it than you. I think where I really wanted to push back was not so much on your anticipation of this movie, but with like internet cultures thing with
yeah.
where they're like, oh, he's like I have seen posts that were like he's washed, and I'm like, are you watching the same movies that I am? Like
I think a lot of that's probably it's just like
it's
people are just
trolls.
trying to get
Yeah,
clicks and
it's trolls.
views and
Yeah,
yeah,
it's still it. People echo that. They like thinking it'll make them sound smart.
yeah,
And like I don't know, as far as I've known, and I'm sure both of you will back me up on this. There's no such thing as a smart person who reviews movies.
yeah. I will say I think the Athena thing that surprises me that you didn't like that because I think for me that was one of the stronger parts of the story. I would break this movie into a few different pieces. So you have the Trojan War stuff, which I think all that is done like incredibly well. And I think even though he's only in the movie for a short period of time, me and Jimmy disagree on this, but I think Agamemnon is like the most interesting character in the movie. And I think the fact that he's in it for such a short period of time adds to that. He makes a big impact in
She
small
does.
screen time.
I agree.
And then the second portion is, Odysseus's journey, which I think is mostly interesting with some slower parts. Like you said, I think there is a pacing issue. Not every portion of it works great for me, but when that hits, it really hits. Like I would point out,
Mhm.
when they meet the dead, that's a great scene.
Oh, that's got to be the best scene in the movie.
That's
Like by
probably, I think
far.
it is the best scene in the movie, and it's
Yeah.
like one of the best scenes in any of his movies, I would say. Um, the other scene I think that really works for his journey is obviously when he returns home, but returns home in disguise, and he's basically recounting the Trojan War to Penelope, and Athena is there. I think that is the biggest portion of the movie where things click into place, and I'm like, I get this. Like this is good. Um, then there's the third piece of the movie, which I think doesn't work at all, and I think it's actively kind of bad.
The scooters
And
and
it's
stuff.
Ithaca. All the
Yeah.
Ithaca stuff is genuinely Some of it is okay. Robert Pattinson is pretty good. Tom Holland, I the second time I saw it, I think I was like, he was pretty good in this.
Yeah, I
But
remember
like,
the first
as
after
a
the first time.
story, as the whole story, the Ithaca stuff is just it takes the wind out of my sails every time they come on screen. It's so boring. It's really hard to sit through for me.
I just think like outside of like the first, what do they call it in like the book, the Telemachy, the like the parts of the like Telemachus's journey,
Hmm.
or Telemachus. I have no
Yeah,
idea. Um,
yeah. I think
um,
they say in the movie it's Telemachus, but
yeah, which sounds more right. I don't know where to put the emphasis on a lot of Greek name, but anyway, like that stuff in the beginning where he goes to see Menelaus, John Barenthal.
yeah. And John Bernthal is good in this too.
I
I
fucking
thought.
like that part a lot. Like, I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
the cuts back to Ithaca. I think I agree.
yeah.
I'm like, this is we don't need this.
Basically, anytime they're in Ithaca, it's like, oh god, unless Odysseus is there, and then it's
Yeah,
kind of I
the
can deal with
beginning
it.
is fine. It's a 3,000-year-old story. You don't need to change that much. Just open up with that the Ithaca, and then end
I
with it.
just think my problem with the beginning is that I think it's too long. Like I feel like there's too much setup. It's like you kind of get it. You don't really. I think Telemachus to an extent. I get he's important, but also I think Penelope is way overemphasized in the story. And she's not that interesting of a character the way she's currently written. And I think it does like for me, that's a big reason why it's so boring. Is because like I'm not into it any of that part of the movie. So um, yeah, I think the beginning for me is a big problem for why I can't quite embrace the movie fully. Um, but
I do
yeah,
think it succeeds as like an adaptation of the source material more so than any other adaptation of the Odyssey.
yeah. So I
Uh,
never read the Odyssey, so wouldn't um, I wouldn't have a opinion on that. But I will say, me and Jim were talking about it, and my impression of the story, there are things I remember just from like I guess consuming media around it or something. But there are
mhm.
things that I fondly remember from the story that are like completely left out. Um, and I kind of the more we talked about it, the more I was like, oh, that would have added more personality to the movie, and I think it is missing some of that.
The
Specifically
biggest
with like the Cyclops stuff, but maybe Jimmy, you
Yeah,
can talk a little more
so
about
like
that.
maybe I just forgot about how the story goes. But like, do they not poison the like
they get him
wine that they
drunk.
make the
They get
site?
him,
Yeah, they get him
yeah,
drunk and they
they get
like
him drunk.
poison him so he falls asleep, and that's why they could stab him in the eye.
I,
But how do they get the poison wine?
I can't remember exactly. But like I didn't mind that so much as like how they get out of the cave. Fine, right? Like I actually really like the Cyclops stuff. Um, there is a joke that Odysseus makes in the the poem, where like after he shoots like
Yeah, the whole
the eye,
nobody thing.
the whole nobody thing, and it's so funny. Christopher Nolan actually, I think it was The Daily Show. John Stewart brings it up, and Christopher Nolan was like, "I tried so hard to make that fit, and just could not." And so, like, I understand that there are going to be omissions. Like, I don't think the Bag of Winds was in this at
Yes,
all,
it
right?
wasn't in there
No.
either. Yeah,
Um,
there were a couple things like now that I'm kind of reading a short synopsis on like Wikipedia, there's a lot of direct intervention from the gods and like Zeus than there is in this version.
but like also like there is a lot more Iliad in this than in the Odyssey, right? Because you need the context of like this is
Yeah.
what happened at
Yeah.
Troy. Like putting the Trojan horse in there was awesome. I loved
Hmm.
that.
That was a
And I
really
thought they
good
did it.
touch.
I thought they did it in a really cool way because 90% of the time when you see the Trojan horse, it's on like a cart, right? It's like
Hmm.
Hmm.
it's on all fours and like like is being pulled by wheels. I just thought it was cool to see it a different way, where I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this kind of like makes more sense. It's not like campy Hollywood Trojan horse.
Right. I think that's the best part of the movie. And I do think this movie's at its best when it's like embracing this angle of like, and it was kind of, I thought it wasn't an obvious angle to me. Again, I haven't read the story, so maybe it's in the story, but I kind of always thought it was just like basically how it's marketed. It's a story about a guy coming home, and like, but it is more than that. And the best aspect of this movie is this angle of like Odysseus reflecting on one just being a veteran of like an atrocity kind of,
Yes, yes,
um, and then just how he feels like he's failed all these people. And I think that is the stuff that works the best. But then it gets dragged down by all the court drama, like royal court drama of like the suitors and all this stuff. And it's like, I just it so holds back that story because if you just spent more time on that, it's like so much more interesting. And I get like it's necessary to an extent, but I just think it's they over invested their time into that, and I don't think it's necessary. I was talking to Jimmy. I kind of think they could have put very minimal setup to that, like Ithaca stuff in the beginning. Totally left it. Follow Odysseus for the rest of the movie, and then at the very end, just resolve it. I mean, I don't think you needed an hour of Ithaca stuff. It probably could have been done in 30 minutes, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not
I
Christopher
think,
Nolan.
I
So
yeah, I think the only shortcoming of that, right? And I like it's interesting because I know he puts a great care into his scripts. Um, I think the only shortcoming of doing it that way is that like it's in the beginning and then you get this whole movie and then it's at the very end. Like I understand splicing in some Ithaca stuff. I just don't know if I wanted that much.
yeah, I agree.
That being said, I am fully confident that Christopher Nolan could make a fucking horror movie after watching this.
Dude,
Because
Not
that
that
if it's
pig,
with an IMAX camera. I'm going to say
yeah,
that.
the
Not
pig
with an
morphing,
IMAX
dude.
camera.
Well,
the
I didn't like that.
Cyclops was insane. Like Polyphemus looks fucking crazy. That was like them in the cave actually kind of scary. I thought it was filmed well. I thought the tension was great, and just the way it fucking looks is so amazing.
See, maybe it's because I was looking forward to that the most. I was. It was. I do think it was good, but I was a little underwhelmed with the Cyclops stuff. I think it kind of
Really?
is. It's not very. It's kind of inconsequential, and it shows who he is as a leader, like that he goes back with his men when even though he escaped, and then like there are things there, but
Well, it,
overall, it's like the least consequential of all the
it does
events during
lay
his
down
Odyssey.
like a really good character trait for Odysseus, in my opinion, is that like there's a misconception in uh like a cultural misconception now of like Odysseus is really smart.
Hmm.
Where I would push back and be like, no, he's clever, and there's a difference, right? Like he didn't need to taunt the Cyclops at the end and get like he's a hothead at sometimes, right? He's not always making the best decisions. He's just really good at getting himself out of shit.
Yeah,
And I think the Cyclops stuff is like a perfect example of that. Like where he's very clever. He gets them out in a very clever way, but he still fucks up all the time, like shooting the Cyclops in the eye and having it chase them, or going there in the first place.
I think that was one of those scenes, and there's a few in like or segments, and there's a few in the movie that I just felt like we're missing something. Like I don't know, just something to separate it to make it less straightforward. It's almost the Cyclops stuff felt too straightforward to me. In a lot of ways, like it's very everything that happens is very expected. Like
Well,
they're gonna escape.
it's a
You
3,000
know,
year old story. I would hope you
I
expect
know,
some of
I
the
know.
things going into it.
It's not even. It's not just it, but you can make it feel unique. I guess is what I'm saying. It doesn't feel unique. That's more what I'm
Oh, I,
saying.
I disagree. Like that's where I'll push back. Like I think this was a very unique adaptation of the Odyssey.
I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about that
The,
scene.
the
That
Cyclops
segment
stuff.
Yeah, specifically. Yeah.
I don't know because you can go back to like the Harryhausen movies in the '60s and that Cyclops stuff. I just don't know how you would have, like, what else you could do. I guess
I don't
is
know. I think. See, my thing, and I talked to Jimmy about this, and I know there's certain things you can't do, but I think Nolan. I'm a huge fan of him, but he can be a pussy about like doing certain things. Like he will be very resistant to like jumping the shark. Like he'll overcorrect and like try and be way too down the line, like straight down the middle.
Mhm.
versus taking a risk on something. So like I like the idea of like the whole thing where Odysseus is like talking to the what was the whole thing, Jim, that we were talking about? He like talks to the Cyclops and they basically outsmart him and he says like I'm no who stabbed me
Yeah,
in the eye, I'm
Yeah,
he
nobody,
says
all
basically
that
like
stuff.
nobody. Yeah.
because there's supposed to
For
be
me,
other like Cyclopses on the island or something, or they like reach
yeah.
out to him and they're like, "Yo, what's going on?" And they're like, "Yeah, nothing actually. I got hurt by
For
nothing."
maybe it's because I know that maybe in subconsciously in the back of my mind I was like I knew that was a thing. So maybe that's why it felt like something was missing, but like I did feel like something like that was missing from the scene. Like it needed something other than
You
just
know
like,
what?
oh, it's a
I
monster
mean,
and we're trying not to die.
it's a shame because I saw it last week. It's a shame we're doing this before I'm going to see it again next week. So
Hmm.
I mean, I will look for that. I just don't know if I really echo the sentiment.
Mm.
I was really happy with a few things. I was really happy with Cersei. I was really happy with the Cyclops. The two most like notable like episodes in the poem. You know what I mean? Because it is kind of serialized. It's vignettes almost. It's like, especially when you're reading the poem, it's like, okay, they go here, they do this, hilarity ensues.
Yeah.
Odysseus fucking escapes, and then oh my god, he's over here now, and they do this, and more hilarity ensues. So like, I don't know. The two most notable ones to me, like in memory, are the Cyclops, Polyphemus, and Cersei, and I thought both of those were done really, really well. The last Dragonians, everyone kind of forgets about, but man, do those shots look fucking cool. The giants, the cannibals,
Yeah.
like
I think
that one was brushed over though. I felt like that was so quick, like it looked so cool. That one felt a little rushed to me, like where I was like, I was like,
yeah, I agree.
I was like, I know it's not as notable as part of the story, but like this was like a 5 minute thing. I think like all in all, like maybe 10 minutes, if that, of a 3 hour movie, and it looked fucking stunning. I don't know, it didn't add too much for me. Like
So I
that
think
one.
I agree. I think parts of it did look great. My thing with this movie is, and it's not just that scene, it's basically every action set piece where there's fighting. Um, it does feel like it's like the worst aspects of how Nolan shoots action with like super close-ups, over editing, and then like I know they talk about the camera's like 300 pounds, and it's I watched some stuff before this where they're like, yeah, we wanted to get to a place where we weren't sacrificing anything with the weight of the camera, and they're like, well, we think we achieved that, and I would super disagree. I think it's for me. I felt like the camera was very and like immovable. Certain times it does move and it gives you like a split second of like movement to basically trick your brain into being like, okay, the camera's moving, but it's not really. If you really watch it, it's just constant edits, 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 edits. And I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice. You're shooting in this large format and you're shooting a close up of a fight. Like just show the whole thing. Like I back up. I don't understand the philosophy behind that other than just they weren't able to move the camera much. But so I did notice, especially for the fights, that scene, although it looks really cool with like the force perspective and everything, I think all that stuff looks great. Um, and then the ending fight where he's fighting the suitors, that's probably the worst offender because
Hmm.
also the lighting in that scene is awful.
I can agree with that. The camera work that I enjoyed the most was on the ships, actually.
Hmm.
I agree.
Because it feels so intimate, if that makes
And
sense. Like
and
it feels
also
like I'm just
just
standing on the fucking ship with them.
yeah, and also just the close-ups. Like I was telling, every time they just do a close-up of someone's face, it's like, whoa, dude, that looks awesome.
Dude, I felt like
Especially
I
in the
was
large format.
yeah, I thought I was gonna fucking die on that ship. Like I was like, this is
Yeah,
fucking
especially when
crazy.
they were in the storm, and then like I don't know if this. I don't watch a lot of like boat movies or whatever, but
Boat movies.
especially when they were in the storm and it was just that minimal amount of lighting, people kind of forget like, yeah, at nighttime it's just a fucking black abyss out there, and like especially during the storm, it's really scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, I was really impressed with all the at sea stuff. Jimmy, I'm going to assume this is your favorite boat movie now. You know, one of the big five
One of the
genres in
big
Hollywood.
boats.
Yeah, boat movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, yeah, I I liked this a lot. I think.
Can I ask you guys
Yeah.
something? Do you think it being shot in IMAX actually like so? Just to clarify for Jimmy, Nolan has shot in IMAX for a long time, but
Not a
what
whole
usually
movie.
happens,
Yeah,
yeah, what usually happens is like in the you notice it most frequently in like The Dark Knight or like Interstellar. It'll go from like a regular camera and then like a big set piece or visual shot will be in the IMAX camera. And then Oppenheimer, I think it introduced more of the IMAX camera and like different scenes.
there are a lot of hard cuts to IMAX shots in
Yeah,
Oppenheimer. Yeah,
but it's never fully IMAX, and this is the first fully IMAX camera movie, and they've had to figure out the camera to make it quieter and stuff for the scene. That's the big reason he didn't use it that way before because it was too loud. But anyway, so this is the first one where he's doing it all IMAX.
I didn't
And
care. I never
I
cared.
wanted to ask you guys, did you feel that it added anything? I did. I think it didn't
I don't
personally.
either. I don't either. But like it's Christopher Nolan. Like we knew like this was gonna he was gonna figure it out and try to do it. And like at this point, like after Oppenheimer, especially even before Oppenheimer, this guy could do whatever the fuck he wanted, and he was gonna find a way to do this. So like in a way, I'm happy he got to do it. I don't really think it matters though. I
I
just
am
think
also happy he tried it, but also I do think it is one of the big things standing in the way of this movie for me, like saying it's great, because I do think if my theory is right and like a lot of the action stuff isn't working for me because of the camera, like because it's so heavy.
yeah, and like you said, there like you warmed up on it, but like there are some performances that you found a little underwhelming. And
Yeah,
like maybe that's because an IMAX camera only has like a cartridge has what like 3 minutes of film on it before you
that's
have to
true. I didn't even
stop
think
the
about that.
scene, change the cartridge, and restart the scene in the middle again. Like so maybe that's I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
He's not an actor's director though.
Yeah,
He gets good performances, but like look at the people he picks too, right? 90% of the
Yeah.
time, they're already fucking stellar actors.
yeah.
Um,
I like Anne Hathaway, but I do think that character's kind of brutal, and I don't know if she doesn't give a great performance. I kind of think it's like not great, but I don't know that it's necessarily her fault. I do think like there's something wrong with like how the character's written.
Yeah, it
Um,
seems like it's just a tremendous burden production-wise on an actor.
yeah.
That being said, here's mm, eh, I don't think it had to be Matt Damon, but I think he did an okay job. I was
Oh,
like,
I think he's great. I think
yeah,
I definitely warmed up to him the most in the second viewing. I think
yeah.
he does an awesome job, and like.
It should have been Travis Scott, but
It should have been Edward
I
But
fucked,
the
Norton.
I fucked with the intro so hard.
Hey, I didn't get the what do you mean by that? I didn't get that.
what do you
You
mean?
didn't get
The Travis Scott
Travis
thing.
Scott was the guy in the beginning doing the
he's
That
the
was
song.
bard.
Travis Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What? I was just like, I just thought it was just some guy. I was like,
some
okay.
guy. No, yeah, that
He's
was
the
Travis
bard,
Scott.
and like the whole idea of having the bard is like,
Yeah.
um, Jimmy, for context, if you don't know, or Robbie, if you don't know, but I assume maybe both of you do. Homer wrote down, allegedly, right? Homer like codified the Iliad and the Odyssey, right? But they were already oral traditions long before he ever existed, and the way they were told was through song, right? Like they're called poems, but they were songs, and that's bards were the people who told those stories and kept them alive before like written stuff. So that's the
Hmm.
idea of having a bard in the story is like showing like
It would have been told.
this is how it would have been told and how like people who weren't there would have understood the events. So
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was a little cool touch, and they didn't lean into it too heavy. Like, so I was like, that's kind of cool.
I'm gonna talk about one more gripe, and then I'll start being positive because there are things I really liked about it. But I will say the final scene. I think the ending is largely like really good. The final scene I think falls really flat because they start talking in a way. Like Jimmy, or I was talking to, well, they start talking in a way that is like basically telling you what the movie's about. They're like, our Bronze Age is, end or falling, and like, but civilization will survive. And I'm just like, and I get in the story that's probably how it's written as well, but like, it's different. Again, you're adapting the movie, you're making it for a modern audience. I don't like being told with a nice bow what the movie is in the
Yeah.
literally the last scene, and it's like, I got it already, man. Like, you don't have to spell it out for me.
Hmm.
You could have just sent him on his way, not had them have that conversation, and it would have been a great ending. Um, but the fact that they had that conversation about like basically what the movie is, I'm like, this is incredibly stupid, and it hurt the movie for me. It hurt the impact of the movie because that scene with Athena where she's crying and he's telling the story about what happened in Troy is like so powerful.
It is, yeah.
It basically is the emotional climax of the movie. Everything else is just wrapping things up like logistically so that, things are the way
So
they
he can,
need to be. You know what I
so
mean? So
Odysseus can leave 20 minutes after a 20-year journey home.
yeah, that is also kind of crazy. I feel like maybe
Yeah,
you
like
could.
it didn't bother me, but now that I'm saying it out loud,
It is kind of crazy.
like it
You could
still
just say
doesn't bother me, but like
you you
it's
could
funny.
honestly just say he's gonna go on that journey and not show it, and the audience will be like, "Well, yeah, maybe he left like a few years later or something." Like we can figure it out. I feel like the actually showing it happen, it does feel like,
No, you should have
wait,
ended.
you
You should
just
have
got
ended
back.
with Odysseus and Penelope are sitting at a cafe, and then across the cafe they see Michael Caine, and they nod to each other, but they don't say anything to each other. That's how you should have ended this movie.
Oh man,
I'm sorry, I had to get that.
yeah.
Oh man, Michael Caine wasn't in this. What the fuck?
But yeah, I mean, so I didn't love the last scene, but um, yeah, like you said, I mean, I loved Matt Damon. I think Tom Holland was good. John Bernthal was good.
John
Robert
Bernthal just
Pattinson.
like
Good.
he gets a lot of shit for like the type of character he usually plays. He's
Yeah,
so good. He's so good. Um, and it's gonna be interesting that I get to see him with Tom Holland twice in one summer, like in movies.
yeah, in like 2 weeks,
Yeah, yeah,
twice in
really.
2 weeks. Yeah, that's
Nope.
kind of interesting. Yeah, they're in 2 movies together, and then Zendaya and Pattinson were in. Oh, they're in 3 movies together this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And Robert Pattinson, he's one of my favorite actors, like hands down. But
Yeah.
he did a really good job. Like it's just like the stuff that he was like like the scenes he was in. I just didn't always find that interesting.
Oh, I agree 100%. And again, it's the problem of Ithaca, and it's why like I can't necessarily blame Anne Hathaway for like everything, even though I do think her performance is probably like one of the weaker ones.
Mhm.
But it's like a character problem too. And I do think even though Pattinson is like doing so much like with his performance that's like fun, the character is kind of like, I don't know.
You know who did great in this?
It's more the story and like how the Ithaca stuff unfolds. That's just so boring, and it kind of it wears out its welcome for me.
Again, just one shade less. Where I'm like, it didn't like from my experience, it didn't really hurt my experience, but I just don't know how much it added to it. Um,
Yeah.
that being said, another Ithaca actor that I fucking thought did a really good job was John Leguizamo.
Oh
He
yeah,
did
he did do a good job.
as oh fuck, what's his name? Eumaeus, right?
Blind. Yeah.
Eumaeus, yeah. With him and like Argus, man, the Argus stuff. I just wanted to go home to my dog.
Yeah.
I told Jimmy this too. I was really looking forward to the Argus scene. I think they kind of fumbled. Man. I
Dude,
mean,
it was like a
it's
3 second
fine.
thing. It was like a 3 second
Yeah.
thing, and then he just starts talking to Telemachus, and I'm like, "What the? Can we
Yeah.
let that breathe for a second?"
Yeah, I totally agree. I felt like that was going to be the most like heart like bleedy
That's
scene,
the
and they
emotional.
just
That should
blow
be the
over it.
emotional climax of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that.
Big letdown with that, and I
I
know I was supposed to start talking positively, but that was one I
especially
was really looking forward to it the whole movie, and then Like, oh yeah, the dog doesn't even like lift its neck or anything. It
No, he
just
gets kicked for
dies.
3 years, and then we
It
watch
just
him die immediately.
dies.
Like,
And I get he dies but like I feel like I expected like at least a little bit of a longer moment, and like I don't know, it doesn't feel like anything. Like I feel like in the story it's supposed to be like a big. Also, again, I'm talking out my ass because I've never read the Odyssey, but like my perception of the Odyssey was always like the dog is the one that remembers him, and
yes,
nobody else does
yes,
at
correct,
all. So the
correct.
fact that Telemachus, after that moment, like
He's like, "You're my
immediately,
dad."
yeah, it's kind of like, ooh, like I feel like the story's supposed to be more tragic, and like part of the tragedy is that no one remembers him and all this. So it's like, uh, I
He
just wish
went.
that scene had more
He did.
impact.
He
I don't
he
know.
went a little too like this is an action movie at the end for my
I
taste.
agree. I
I
agree.
will say that. Like, um, this is the same. Like he could have made it 4 hours long. Like, and added all that stuff, and I would have been, like as long as you get the emotional beats at the end right, I think you can do whatever, right? This is the same movie that they buried Elliot Page under like 3 feet of sand just for that cool effect. I'm like, and we can't take time for the fucking dog.
Oh man, that scene was so cool though.
Did you hear any of his anybody's interviews about that?
No.
No,
Like Matt Damon was like, this is like that was his favorite scene to shoot, just because of how like because he doesn't use CGI,
right.
or minimal CGI. Let's say that, right? Because there's some, but
Yeah.
like all the actors had to be like they were given like reeds to breathe through, and then they were literally buried in the fucking sand.
Damn.
And every one of them had like a safety person with them, like timing them. So if they like got the timing wrong, they'd have to like pull them up and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So it's just crazy that he took great care because it is probably one of like the better Nolan scenes in anything. And
Yeah.
just like hearing about how it was done was amazing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it was a good movie.
the moments like that are the things that like when I'm watching a scene like that, it makes me really really want to love the movie.
Right.
But I just am kind of like lukewarm on it. I don't know. It reminds me a lot of Sin. I mean, there's things I really
There's
liked about it, and
there's
things I
there's
just don't.
there's Nolan movies I'm lukewarm on. Like I don't really like Tenet that much. Like
Kill yourself. Die. Die. Die now. No, I'm kidding.
I do
I
like it's
love
not
Tenet though. Tenet is a vibe.
okay. So this is so we're just gonna not agree on these two Nolan films, and like I feel like that's fine. But like
The thing with Tenet that at least works more for me though, like compared to this is a very like emotional, intellectual story. Like that feels like there's supposed to be layers to it and everything. And I
yeah,
think like emotionally, outside of a few scenes, like we mentioned, it kind of falls flat for me. Tenet is not really like that. It's like here's some fucking weird time travel and like some awesome like a plane fucking goes into this building. Isn't that crazy? And then it's like, yeah, that's the movie. And
like
that's fun.
don't get me wrong, it's a good movie. I don't
Yeah.
really think Nolan has a bad one, right? Like I
Insomnia. I'll say
yeah
Insomnia
okay.
is the one I think is bad.
I will give that a pass, being an early movie of his, but
Yeah.
like,
And he didn't
um,
write that one.
did his brother?
No, no, he
No,
was
okay.
just a
Um,
got done for hire.
what did you think of Benny Safdie as Agamemnon?
I loved it. I mean, I think he was good. Obviously, he's not doing a whole lot, but I think like
I didn't even know it was fucking him. Like,
yeah, I think even when he is finally given time to like talk and stuff, like I think the performance is really good, and it's kind of he gives an interesting impression of like who this guy is because he's a very large looming like character. He's like Darth Vader basically. And then you hear him talk, and he's kind of like seems like a like I don't know about like bright, but like you get what I'm saying, like a kind
Mhm.
of well spoken, like maybe even quiet guy, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I think it adds texture to the movie. I think, yeah, I think he's good. I think he was good in that.
I mean,
I liked a
and
lot
there,
of the casting, to be honest. I think the casting is really good in this movie.
I think so too. I mean, most Nolan movies are just fucking really well cast. And I think I agree with you until I sat down and watched it, right? Where I was like, I don't really know if this is a Tom Holland role. Like, but I like honestly, I liked him in it. I liked him in it the first time I saw it. It
I
took me
didn't.
the only thing that took me a second was warming up to the dialogue. Where I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna talk like modern people almost. I was like, okay. I was like, that's weird. It's a weird take, but I warmed up to it. Where he's like, I gotta find my dad.
Yeah, some
I'm
people
like,
were
what?
really
Yeah,
like kind of butthurt about that on Twitter, and it's like I don't know, man. It's just like
It's
what
not
do you
that
want
big
him
of
to
a fucking
say?
deal.
My
Like
father.
yeah.
the point of the story is to be timeless, and if like, and it is a timeless story. It's fucking lasted, um, thousands of years. Like, I think if you're gonna adapt it for modern language, go like fucking go for it. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
Like,
that and there were
people
like
are
the
just
certain
saying
comments they would make like during the certain scenes as well. Kind of like like a lot of like the offhanded comments they seem to make. Kind of like makes it more of a modern movie as well. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but
and I
like
know like he was working off of a specific doctor's translate. I think a doctor. I think she was a doctor. Like a specific translation of this the Odyssey, right? So it's like whatever. Like I think people are just gonna fucking bitch about shit no matter what.
yeah,
Good movie, bad movie, or otherwise. Like they're just gonna be nitpick it to death. Especially a big name like this. Like you can have legitimate gripes with this movie. That's not what I'm saying. But like people were just finding stuff to fucking pick
Yeah,
apart.
it's nitpicking. I mean, you
Yeah.
can ever. I can even see like if it takes you out of the movie, but it doesn't necessarily make it a bad movie. Like there
You're
are
right. Yeah.
things, there are other movies like that where there's a little thing that bothers me, but I just get over it because the movie's good.
Yeah.
Um,
It just took me a second to adjust to it in the beginning when I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay, this is what we're doing. Right. But after that, after I adjusted to that, I was like, oh yeah, Tom Holland's doing a pretty good job.
I liked him more the second time I saw it. Um,
Okay.
the first time I thought he was fine. I didn't really love it, but the second time I think he's one of the better parts of the Ithaca stuff. But
Mhm.
again, I think it's just like it's just not an interesting part of the movie. So he's not given a whole lot to do until the very end. Um, yeah, I don't know. I do get the thing with like how they talk. I mean, when you think about it, it's like you're. It's just the giving them like the old English, like the gladiator type thing, where they talk that way, and it's just a way in for the audience, like a quick shorthand. It's not like obviously it's not historical accurate, and nobody's saying that. But like I get what people's gripe is. For they're used to that because
Yeah.
it's a predetermined idea that's already been established in like film as a language. That like when they talk like this, like the voices and the accents, it's like oh this is old timey. Like I can get into it. But at the same time, I don't mind like somebody trying something different and like maybe this will become the norm, you know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
it is kind of unnecessary, but like I get what people are saying. Um but yeah, I don't know. I think it's not a reason to hate the movie, and I also think the like the complaints about like casting and stuff, it's like, dude, like if you're really paying it like I it's like just watch the movie, you know what I mean? It's either a good story or it's not. It really doesn't
Yeah.
none of that stuff really matters that much. It's like, if anything, it's like you have a slight preference over, something else. I don't know. It doesn't really impact the actual like substance of the movie. And I think there's plenty of things to complain about that aren't that stuff. Those
Yeah.
things, you
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Like
Um,
again, legitimate criticism. You don't have to be nitpicky. I agree. Um, I did have a question, Rob. I'm going to assume it's the Land of the Dead scene for you. It might be the Cyclops stuff for me. Jimmy, what was your favorite part of the movie? What was your favorite scene?
honestly, can't really boil it down to a specific scene, but I was just very highly entertained by the whole like first half where it's just them going on the journey. Even though it is kind of Walking Dead esque, where it's go place, thing happens, sprint away, new
It
place.
is kind of like
That's pretty
that.
good. That's
But
pretty
I
good.
think the one thing that I did enjoy the most was probably the scene of them with the sirens, because I was expecting some type of
Oh, that was a great
um
scene.
I thought it was so smart to keep it silent.
yeah, or just like having like just like
The
music,
score.
like just like a
Yeah.
instrumental going. Like
Yeah.
the music the whole movie was
It's
pretty good. I
amazing.
don't
That's
normally
great.
tap into like movie like soundtracks, but I think I might have to like listen to just some of the background stuff as all of this was going on. Like especially like during the um when they go back over the sacking of Troy, like
Yeah.
that whole like build up and build up and build up was pretty good. But yeah, probably that, probably the siren song or hmm probably some of the scenes in Troy.
Yeah.
Just that whole
Yeah.
kind of like
The Troy
stealth
stuff was
action
cool.
sequence. Kind of how that all
I
sets
Yeah,
up.
I
yeah.
agree. I think like as far as the score, Ludwig is awesome.
Mhm.
He pretty much every movie he does is scored really well. I think the score in this gives gives certain scenes an emotional shortcut because the score is so like um so good and like so impactful that like it just gets you there right away. And I think my other favorite scene is the scene at the end with the Athena recapping the Troy stuff, like we're talking about. And I think the score, like Jimmy's saying, the score in that scene's amazing. The score in the Siren scene is amazing, and just like the overall Odysseus theme is like really good. And I think it's the movie definitely needed it because you're jumping around from thing to thing, and it's hard to establish like a emotional through line because I think, like I said, the Ithaca stuff does not work for me. So like, if you're not on board with that, there is no emotional through line other than just like
The
until they
character arc.
introduce the veteran stuff and like the guilt he has. That's like when I get on board. So like the music really helps to give the audience like a shortcut to those feelings. I think it's really good.
I do have something. I always, you guys love film and all that. I enjoy some of the random aspects of movies and whatnot. We were kind of when we were walking into the movie theater. We went to a Regal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we were kind of making fun of the popcorn buckets because I kind of thought that there was going to be some type of special collectible cup thing or whatever, and they just had like popcorn buckets with just like Matt Damon on the side of it. I looked it up. Regal does have the Trojan horse as their collectible container, so I was going before I started popping off. I was gonna start making fun of them, but we just happened to they just happened to not
They
have
must
any
have been
when we were
out.
there. Yeah.
They probably sold out.
I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of like I understand the collectible popcorn bucket stuff, especially because less people are going to the movies,
Mm-hmm.
and like, they have to kind of counterbalance that the blow in box office. I guess. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With stuff like that, I've never been really one to go in for them. I always thought they were all silly. That being said, I have the Superman one, so I guess I
I
can't
do
really
too. We
talk.
both do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's a really good one.
I think it's cool to have them. I think it's kind of silly if you're like buying a bunch of them because it's like they just take up so much space. Like, how much popcorn are you gonna mean?
Yeah,
But I like the option because it's like I have the Superman one and I think like that's the one I got and that's probably the only one I'll ever get and I have it now and it's cool. I like to have it, you know.
I really wanted the Galactus, but it was like $120 for the Fantastic Four one. I was like, I'm good.
It's also one of those things where you're like, "Oh, that looks awesome," and then you remember it's a popcorn bucket, and you're like, "Oh, I'll never use this."
I'll never put popcorn in this again. If I even
Yeah.
put it in the first, I didn't put the popcorn in the first time when I got the Superman one.
Now I'm gonna
But
go down a rabbit hole of random movie collectibles now.
the Dune one was funny. If you remember
Oh,
the
the
Sandworm,
worm.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Shiloh with popcorn bucket.
You can get an
I'm trying to
IMAX
think.
popcorn bucket.
You know who else was really good? The I'm not gonna say his name right. Eurocles or
Who do you play?
uh the guy who's like the second in command to
Oh
Odysseus.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought he was really good as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was really good. I thought he added so much to like the balance of Odysseus.
Yeah,
Like he was a good, like what did you say? Counterweight to him.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. He did well. The other suitor I enjoyed too, Polybus.
Corey Hawkins.
Yeah, I thought he
Yeah,
did
I'm
a
a
good
huge
job.
fan of him as an actor. Again, I think he suffers from a lot of the same things all these other people are suffering from, where I just think the Ithaca stuff's kind of boring.
Every
But I
time I
do
see
think he's a
him,
really good actor.
I do too. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, Dr. Dre.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
basically. And
straight out
he
of
was a
Compton.
spot on. I mean, he was a great Dr. Dre. He was
He
spot
was a
on.
really good Dr. Dre. He was in
But
Crime 101 too, right? Or did I make that
I
up?
think so. He might have been. I think so. He
Because
was
I
also in
mean,
Kong Skull Island. He was like the best part of that movie.
oh, was he? I don't remember. Like,
Yeah, he was in
I don't
Crime
know.
101.
Yeah, I think yeah.
And he's in the
Yeah,
Tragedy of Macbeth with Denzel. He's very good in that as well.
that's a
I think
crazy
he's
movie.
Macduff, I believe.
I think you're right. But every time I see him, doesn't matter. He's Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
like. Go ahead.
there's another scene we didn't talk about that's kind of funny. Probably the funniest scene in the movie. Where John Leguizamo's character is just throwing puppies off the cliff.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
just a
fucking
little.
hilarious, dude. I tried
Eh,
so hard not to
eh.
laugh. Just tossing them off the cliff. What was he even looking for? I don't even know what he was evaluating.
I don't
Puppies
even
and just
know.
like
Oh, he's tossing puppies off the
Kind of
cliff
just
as
grabbing the
as
best ones or
ancient
something.
Greeks do.
So fucking
You know,
funny,
if you
man.
were well versed in the literature, Rob, you would know.
That was so funny though. I'm trying to think of other scenes maybe we overlooked that or didn't
We didn't
talk
talk about
about.
Cersei all that much, and I thought that was a very interesting part of the movie.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I talked to Jimmy about this too. So obviously the Odyssey is an old story, but this movie is not, you know? So I mean, I've seen this in Spirited Away. You know, it's the exact same thing.
Yep, we talked about that, you and I think.
Yeah. So like the fact that I've seen it already, I'm not necessarily criticizing the movie, but I'm like that's why that scene was like kind of like, oh, okay. You know, I've saw this in Spirited Away and it was kind of more interesting in that. Although I do think it's good, you know, it's reasonably good in this movie. But it's just like I don't know how to navigate that because it's just like is it really the movie's fault? Not really, but like
No, it's like an
is it
integral part
that
of the story. It has to be in there.
yeah,
So
but
like,
like I don't
I
know. It's just it.
I'm kind of
I was
confused
kind of
though.
waiting for it to end.
In Spirited Away, if I remember correctly, they just kind of ate the food and they turned into the little pigs. I
Yeah,
think this one was just kind of like more graphic in the way they went about it. Like she put her fist down their throats and was morphing their faces and bodies into little piggies.
yeah, but I don't know. It wasn't like wow. I wasn't like blown away or anything by it.
I liked that Cersei I think the classical interpretation is, or the classic interpretation I should say, is like she's just an evil witch who's doing it to, be like fuck you. I like that she's scared and has like a little bit more emotional depth to her, and I thought that
Yeah, I
was
agree.
a really unique and clever way to show that. Whether that's Nolan's script or the translation he was basing it off of, I don't know, but I thought it was super cool. I was just like, oh, this I haven't ever seen this character like this, and honestly, it makes it a little bit more interesting, especially when you consider in the book that she's just a bitch and Odysseus fucks her to get his men back. Like I thought, like this is a way cooler way to do that.
Yeah, I do agree. I do like that part of it.
Yeah, and
Um,
it shows that, like, he's not a bad dude, like, too, you know what I mean? Like, that he's
yeah.
got a tender, soft, like, side to him where he's like, "I can understand why you would feel this way, right? And I'm, like, promising you that we're not this way." Like, I don't know, I thought it was cool.
And
That being
then
said, I would have totally eaten those cows. Like,
I was just about to say we didn't talk about the cows and then the Calypso stuff, but I feel like in both situations, I mean,
"Oh, I
they
was
accomplished
stuck
what they
on
need
an
to do.
island with Charlize Theron, oh, poor me."
Oh, I remember what I wanted to talk about. I do think it's kind of ridiculous, but like when you're in the flow of the movie, you don't even notice. But now, once I saw it the second time, I was like, "This is stupid." That he just like gets on a really shitty raft. Like, who knows where the fuck he is? The raft does not last all of 30 seconds, and then he's into the water, and he just
The whole
wakes
thing
up. He wakes up at home. Like,
the whole
Don't
thing
you
with
know
what
that
where
the
is
you
fuck?
are,
that
Odysseus?
it's that it's divine providence, right? Like that's the whole point of that.
Yeah.
Is like I agree it's goofy looking if you take it out
Yeah,
of context, but like and they don't really harp on that sometimes in the movie, but it's like the gods are doing that is the idea, right? Like
I
they're
get
like,
that, but I think that's another issue I have with the movie is like it doesn't feel like it's willing to like commit to the
yeah,
mysticism of everything.
I agree, and this was like one of my things that I think we talked about in a different podcast when we were. It might have been our Memento podcast,
I
probably.
think we were looking
Yeah,
forward, like we were talking
Yeah.
in the
Or
future
like
tense
how
about it.
Christopher Nolan is going to handle the mysticism and the myth of it all.
Hmm.
And you know, I think I had a little bit more confidence in him than this movie warranted. But like, so I think I agree with you. Where I was like,
Hmm.
just commit, just commit.
Yeah, I think it would have
You don't,
still been
you
fine. Like I think
don't have
that's
to
what I
show.
mean when I say he plays it too straight down the middle too much. Like he can be a little like I think he's as a filmmaker, he doesn't want to jump the shark. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
I
but
think
I
it's
think
like his biggest thing.
there's a marriage of it where he kind of missed it a little bit. Where it's like you can
Yeah.
just say like, "Oh, that was Zeus." You don't have to show us Zeus doing it. You know, just
Yeah,
be
I
like, "Yeah, that
agree.
was Zeus." Like, people do that every day in real life too, right? Or like you like barely miss getting hit by a bus. You're like, "That's God," right? But you can still show someone barely getting hit by a bus without like the hand of God coming down and pushing them out of the way.
Yeah, I definitely, I 100% agree.
So I agree with you there. But so like the idea for me was there, but also like English major, like I just know what's going on. Like so like how much of that
Mhm.
am I was I relying on as opposed to the storytelling that Nolan is trying to do.
And I will say, the first time I watched it, I didn't even notice it. It was only the second time where I'm like, this feels a little bit Dark Knight Rises, like he got out of the pit and he's like, oh, I'm home.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, a little bit. But
um
you don't notice
so
it when you're in the flow of the movie.
would it be okay if we move to ratings? I'm
Yeah.
interested to hear these.
It's rating time. Who
Is
wants to go
that
first?
what we're doing? Is that what we're doing from now on? Is that like are we workshopping that? Is that
Uh,
like
Sometimes, what do they say? You know, what's a movie where they did a lot of improv and it made it work? Click.
I don't know.
okay. Okay.
Click.
Jimmy, you go
Anchorman.
first. Jimmy, you go first.
Um, so I really liked the movie. I was entertained the whole time. Um, I just enjoyed, it's like just this epic blockbuster summer adventure. There was a lot of action. There's a lot of cool characters. It was the source material, it's classic literature. So it's kind of ironic. I was going through a whole Roman history little like thing with, I'm reading about Emperor Nero right now. So I was already kind of in the world, ensconced, if you will. And so I like the material. I like all the people involved, big names. The action was cool. He kind of had every type. There was, explosions, death, destruction, um, whole bunch of stuff going on. The back half, it was kind of, for me. And maybe we could talk about this more after we do our ratings. But I kind of was under the assumption that it was just kind of the way that they designed like these stories to be told and all that. So like there was more action in the beginnings of stuff because that was like poor people entertainment, and then later on for like the rich classes, they'd be like, all right, let's get into this like political game where people really have to use their heads, and like they found that more entertaining. Uh, I It's almost like Oppenheimer in a way where it's like kind of split into like two movies. There's like a big, obviously when he kills everybody at the end, that's like a big action sequence, but it almost kind of felt like Oppenheimer where it was like a
Oh, I thought you were talking about Oppenheimer when he killed
no,
Dude,
no.
everybody at the end.
Jimmy saying that just reminded me of like my biggest thing with the movie that I completely forgot about. I guess I'll talk about it when we rate it. When I rate it.
Yeah.
So continue, Jim.
So yeah, both halves of the movie was entertaining for me and I had fun. Solid 4 stars.
I'll go last, Christian, because I have a huge tangent I want to get into now that Jimmy just reminded me.
Yeah, I'll save your tangent. I think I've said everything I need to say. I also gave this movie 4 stars. Not my favorite Nolan movie. Definitely weaker than Oppenheimer, but that could prove to be his like magnum opus, in the future. So I think that's okay that it was a weaker attempt. But I had a fucking blast at this movie. I enjoy the Odyssey as a story. Um, it's probably my favorite adaptation of the source material if you don't count "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" or the original SpongeBob movie. Um,
That is the best one. That
maybe,
is the best
maybe. Yeah, 4 stars. So Rob, I'll let you take your tangent, but I think I've said all I need to say.
So, and it's more of a question, I guess. Like, he gets home, he strings the bow, he shoots the arrow, and he just is like, okay, I'm gonna kill these people now. Killing time. I'm gonna kill everyone and it's just like, it kind of feels like kind of crazy to me. I'm like, did they really deserve this? Like, they're yes, 100% assholes, cruel, like they're plotting on his wife, his throne. I get it, man. You can be like, hey, fuck you guys. But like to just be like, yeah, time to shoot you in the face with an arrow. It feels like it's supposed to be like heroic, like hero moment, but it doesn't feel like that to me because nothing that like say nothing Robert Pattinson has done is that much worse than anything Odysseus has done. So why am I supposed to like feel so relieved? Like I don't know. Why am I supposed to automatically just be like, yes, Odysseus, like he's getting
Well,
his get back?
there's
The only thing I'll say is Odysseus is more guilt. Like he has more guilt associated with what he's done. That I get, but like, you see what I'm saying? Like, why would he just go straight to killing them? I don't
well again.
understand that.
I'll harp on this one last time, and it's not going to be a satisfying answer, but it's the answer I have, if that's makes
Hmm.
sense. It's a 3,000-year-old story,
Yeah.
and again, it was an oral tradition before it was ever a poem. Um, and what you'll find in a lot of these poems is that there is an allegorical nature to some of it, where like like the boy who cried wolf. Did he really deserve to be eaten by the wolf at the end of that story? No, but the idea is don't lie, right? And for this, they really harp on Zeus's law, right? Do you remember like them saying Zeus's
Yeah.
law, the law of
Yeah.
hospitality? Um, and like that was a big part of Greek culture, Xenia or Xenia, right? Which is like be nice to strangers. But the flip side of that is don't abuse people's generosity and hospitality. And like probably in the original epic and the original oral tradition, like I'm not a scholar, I'm just kind of you know like familiar with it, to like a very small degree. Is like, hey, these people were assholes for abusing the hospitality of Ithaca, like Penelope's, like whatever you want, whoever, right? They're being assholes, and so at the end, their repercussions, like again, are a little what's the word, out of proportion, right? The fate they ultimately suffer, but like
Hmm.
that was the whole point of the oral tradition was don't be an asshole and overstay your welcome, and this is what happens if you do. Like you're gonna suffer the consequences of it. And obviously, when you make a story like that, it has to be a memorable consequence, which means it's going to be a little out of proportion. So that's the answer I can give you. But like changing that in any adaptation is going to be very tricky. Like I think it has way like the original idea has way less to do with the character arc of Odysseus and just more of that like oral tradition and like cultural identity of the time.
Yeah, I get that. My only counterpoint would be like you're making an adaptation, you can adapt it to make it more like make it so it feels like, oh, this is deserved. You know what I mean? Like you can write them to
I
be
can agree with that
worse
point.
or
Yeah.
do something.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I
know.
can agree with that point. I was just like I said, it wasn't going to be a satisfying answer, but it's
Yeah,
the only one I can really think of.
but I guess the only other thing against like to counterpoint myself is I guess they did try and kill his son, but like again, he doesn't really know exactly who tried to do that, or like he doesn't know the inner workings of that plan or what happened. So it's like him just like shooting Corey Hawkins in the face. The moment he recognizes him is like, oh, okay, I guess. But anyway, I like the movie. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I did like it.
What are we giving it, Rob?
It's probably a 3. I would say it's good. I like it. It's very. I feel very similar to this movie that I felt about Sinners. There are things I love. There are things I don't like so much. But overall, it's an entertaining blockbuster.
All right.
Good. We are. I mean, if you guys want to talk about movies you've seen, because I mean, we're not
I
really
haven't
gonna do a
really
wheel.
seen
We
a
got
lot
more
other
stuff
than
down
this.
the
I'll save
road.
that for a wheel episode. When we like continuation of the series and not like hey we saw this in theaters. I'll save my movies for that. That was Sheep Detectives, guys. I hope you
I was
enjoyed.
just gonna say I'm going to talk for an hour about Sheep Detectives now.
That
If you
was
guys want to just
Jason
leave
and the
you can come
Argonauts.
back in an hour and shut off the stream.
You guys have fun. Um. So yeah, I mean, I guess we got one more locked and loaded, or will be by the time this comes out. I believe the staff pick. My staff pick will be the next thing, right? Am I wrong?
I think so.
Something's coming
Yeah.
down. We're always cooking, we're always watching movies and talking about them. If you like this podcast, you know what you can do? You can slap a big fat thumb on that button, that subscribe button, or check out the link tree for all the other stuff. Like check out the letterboxes. We have our individual profiles. We have a group profile now where we post the reviews and links to podcasts for movies that maybe you want to hear us talk about. This has been Lupo Cinema Symposium from the Real Pod Network. I am your co-host, Uptown Lupo 420, aka otherwise known as Jim. I'm signing off.
Goodbye.